Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is your host, Rosa Hart, and today I'm here with Beth Richardson of Spotz Gelato. Welcome, Beth.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We met the other day when you were serving sorbet out of your truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do lots and lots of events. We were at a private event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we do events really in the Louisville, Lexington, and Cincinnati areas. And
That's pretty broad.
Yeah, we kind of get around. And
So tell us, what is Spotz Gelato and what makes it unique?
so we started about 10 years ago. My husband and I started with one truck, and we both had real corporate jobs, and we just started it as a kind of a side gig thing to make money on weekends. And I had always loved to cook. Mm-hmm. Also, at the time, we had a hobby farm, and with that, we did CSA baskets, community supported agriculture baskets for, we were feeding about 35 families a week. So I didn't grow enough things in my garden to feed 35 families a week. So I was buying extra produce from other area farmers that grew great things that I didn't grow to put in these boxes. And so we developed this network of farmers, and we got this idea to learn to make gelato and do it with Kentucky Proud ingredients. And that was the base of farmers that we started purchasing from.
Okay.
So at first I learned to make gelato at home. I would take it to potlucks and, family events and whatever. And one too many people said, "This is great, you should sell it." Mm-hmm. That's where the idea originally came from.
Did you have like a signature flavor that you started with?
Well, my husband's favorite flavor of ice cream was always cookies and cream. So that's the first one that I tried to make. And the first one we perfected. And don't you know, it's still our most popular flavor.
My daughter would support that decision.
Yeah.
Yep. So can you define for us what the difference between ice cream is and sorbet and gelato?
Right.
Because it's called Spotz Gelato.
Right.
But then I had sorbet from you, and then you just mentioned ice cream. So
right.
What's the difference?
Yeah. So here in America, we recognize ice cream. That's what we're accustomed to. But gelato is just an Italian style of ice cream. And the recipe for gelato is just a little different than the recipe for American style ice cream. And basically two things are different. The ratio of milk and cream is different. So gelato has less fat because it has more milk and less cream, where American ice cream has more cream and less milk. The second thing that's different is it spins in a machine, kind of like your grandma's old ice cream churn thing that you had to do in the backyard, by hand. Well, we have a much more sophisticated automated machine, but a gelato machine goes in a circle in a much slower speed. That means it has less air whipped into it. So when you eat gelato, it tastes more thick and more dense than American ice cream. And then sorbet is an Italian style of a dairy-free treat. So our sorbets usually are fruit-based, and all it is fruit, water, and sugar. So they are dairy-free and vegan.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you decide to call it Spotz Gelato and leave out ice cream and
so
sorbet?
we just make gelato, period. And the reason that we did that is because it's a rambling story, but we used to vacation over the winter in this one spot in this one town, and there was ice cream down the street, and every night after dinner we would wander down and have ice cream, and for some reason it was just wonderful. Just tasted great. And so finally one night I said to the man that owned it, why is the stuff that we're eating at your shop so much better? He said, because it's not ice cream. It's gelato. So that's what started us on this whole thing, learning how to make gelato, because his gelato was so good, you know. Yeah. So the way he explained it to me at the time is that it was made with local produce, local products each day. And I thought, as a hobby farmer, I've got the produce.
Right.
Let me see what we can do. And so that's how I started trying to make it in my home kitchen. And
Okay.
yeah.
So then when did you start putting it on a truck?
Well, it wasn't too long after that. So one too many people said that we should sell it. You know, I would take it to potlucks and family things, and I got better each time that I would make a flavor, and we had 8 or 10 really good flavors, and my husband is quite handy. I'm so fortunate that he's handy and loves to do projects, and he'd always wanted to redo a vintage trailer.
Well, okay.
And so I said, well, let's just have a food truck made out of a vintage trailer. So our first truck was a 69 travel trailer.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah. And so he gutted it and rebuilt it from the ground up and turned it into a food truck. And that became the model for the remainder of our trucks. So,
and did you paint it pink?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because pink is your color, man.
Yeah.
So you can't see her here today, but she's got a pink dress on with some daisies on it for the spots. Just totally on brand. You're like the gelato Barbie.
Yeah, yeah. I was the gelato Barbie before Barbie was cool again, right?
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what we did. And he was so excited about getting to do a trailer. He wasn't as excited about having to paint it pink. You know, he thought that was a crazy idea. But we painted it pink. We put spots on the outside of it. And that's where the name of the company came from, is the Spotz. And so
the spots on the trailer after you'd put them on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so how we.
You didn't put them on the trailer because that was the name.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I had the design for the trailer in my head and first, and
it's super cute.
Yeah. So now we have 8 mobile units. We started about 10 years ago with that one truck, and then the second season. Well, this is a funny story. So the way the health laws are in the state of Kentucky, we had to actually make gelato on that truck.
Oh, wow.
So, because that had to serve as your kitchen, and and so our food trucks have to be inspected just like a restaurant. You know, they have to have the same kind of plumbing and all of that. So
it's not just carrying it around after you make it in your home kitchen.
Right, right. So it was quite an extensive process to build a truck and have it inspected and approved, you know. So that whole first season, we actually made gelato on the truck. And if you can imagine, our biggest truck is about 14 feet long.
Gosh.
And about 7 feet wide.
And how big was your gelato maker?
Well, it's pretty big. Pretty big. It took up one whole counter. And not only that, but as it's running, it throws off a lot of heat.
Oh, no.
You know? So we would go to events, and we would think that we're prepared, you know? And someone would come to the window and they would ask for a flavor that we've just run out of. And we would say, oh, but we'll have it made within about half an hour if you want to come back. And they'd come back, and we'd been so busy that we haven't gotten anything made. So anyway, we soon decided that we could, people were wanting us to come to so many different events, and we only had one truck. So we decided the next season that we would add another truck. And rather than putting another gelato machine, buying another gelato machine to put on that truck, instead we built a commercial kitchen on our farm, where now everything is produced in that commercial kitchen and then distributed to the stores now and the trucks. So we have 8 mobile units now.
Okay.
And we have the brick and mortar stores also.
Yeah, so tell us about that. Where are the stores now?
So we have 2 in the Louisville area and 3 in the Lexington area. In the Louisville area, we have LaGrange and we have Shelbyville. Both of those are right on Main Street, right downtown. You know, both are such charming towns.
Are. What an idyllic setup.
Yeah.
I just love it. I've been to the LaGrange one, and I've walked by the one on Shelbyville when I was on one of the ghost walk tours. But I haven't been inside that one yet. I've got to get in there.
Yeah. They all are, well, like the trucks. They're all hot pink, spots on the walls, you know, kind of over the top. But
hey, my daughter thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
She's like, I belong here.
Yeah. So, but each store has its own personality, you know, even then you walk in and you know it's a Spotz store, but they each have their own thing. We kind of go with all of them are located in historic downtowns, and we kind of go with the building that we are given, and and it works out great.
So are they all in the Lexington ones all in downtown?
Yeah, so we're in Georgetown, which is on Main Street.
Okay.
We're in Midway, which is right there on Railroad Street, right along the railroad track, and then in Versailles, right there by the courthouse.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Versailles was our first store, and Georgetown came 2 weeks later. Yeah, so we, and both of those towns are just fabulous. They've just been great to us. And we also love Midway. Midway is a very touristy town, because not a lot of folks actually live in Midway.
Well, it does denote that with the name, that it's like halfway to somewhere else.
Yeah. And they say it's because it's halfway between Frankfort and Lexington on the railroad line.
Okay.
And just a charming town full of great restaurants, which works great for us.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of great shops, too. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
and then you said it reaches up to Cincinnati. Is that when you travel for events?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we do a couple different kinds of events. We'll do big public events and festivals and things where we take the truck and we open the window and we sell our full menu. But then we also do private events where people hire us to come to weddings or corporate events or birthday parties, graduation parties, whatever. You name it, we probably had a gelato truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to bring excitement wherever it goes.
So, our area that we travel for any of those kind of truck events is kind of the Golden Triangle, Louisville, Lexington, Cincinnati, and kind of down the Bluegrass Parkway through Bardstown also.
Okay. So are you part of like the Louisville Food Truck Association?
Well, because we're not within the Louisville city limits, we are not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we do a lot of events in Louisville.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you're ready to drive wherever the opportunity
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And you obviously get so much delight out of it, because we were talking about how you like to work the trucks to make sure that everything goes well. And
well, we've grown so much since we started, because when we first started this, it was just my husband and I on weekends. It was just kind of a side gig, and this season we had 78 employees.
Gosh.
Yeah, so it's a little crazy. You feel like you're herding cats at the height of the summer, but to me, it feels very natural and very, it's exciting for me to be able to be on the truck and see, and in the stores for that matter, and see people that are actually buying product that we're making. Because all the recipes are mine. And,
Wow.
10 years later, I'm still shocked that anybody wants to buy anything that I've made, So it tickles me still. If I ever lose that, then I think I need to get out of the business.
Right.
But that's what's exciting. That's what's fun. We were at an event this past weekend in Renfro Valley, which is kind of out of our area down in southern Kentucky, and but we were invited to compete in the Kentucky Food Truck Championship.
Oh, wow.
And this is our third year competing. And
were you like in a dessert category or
Well,
something? I hope you're not competing against like barbecue.
Well, so the way it works is there were 36 trucks that were invited, and they have different categories, and then they have an overall winner that can come. If you win overall, you can't win the other categories.
Gotcha. Okay.
So in 2 out of the 3 years, we have won Best Dessert, and we won Best Dessert again on Saturday.
Fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Congratulations.
and the only reason we didn't win the other years because we were disqualified because we'd won the year before.
Oh.
So that's the kind of stuff you just think, well, I can't believe that somebody likes this. It just tickles me. That's the fun part.
Now, do you have any time to be a farmer anymore? Are you done with the hobby farm?
We say now we have a gelato farm.
Right. It sounds like it.
We do. We cut hay, and we have a neighbor that runs some cattle on the farm some.
Okay.
But now all we do is we have the milkman come every week to do his milk delivery, and we make a whole lot of gelato there in the kitchen that we built on the farm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, how many people does it take to make all the gelato that you need?
Well, it depends on the time of year. As we start to wrap up our season and it's beginning to get cold outside, we are not producing as much. But at the height of the summer, you've got a couple people in the kitchen that are working, 5 days a week, 80 hours a week, getting it done.
Yeah.
And then, it tapers off towards the end of the season because it does have a definite shelf life,
Right. Yeah.
And everything is made fresh, just a day or two before it's delivered to the shops.
And you've been doing this for 10 years now. So, like, you've got your truck season when you want to have it out there, but your stores, I guess, will be open all year round.
No,
right?
they're not. We
They're
close
not?
in the winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that mean you get a break?
It does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and this is the craziest part of this whole story. I still, this whole thing is crazy. I worked for corporate America. This was not something that I would have ever dreamed that I would be doing. And so we would travel in the winter, which is how we discovered gelato to begin with. And we, in recent years, probably in the past 15 years, we've been spending a lot of time in the winter in Nicaragua. And love it.
Nice.
It's 95 degrees every day. It's beautiful, on the ocean. Just gorgeous.
95 with a breeze.
Yes. Yeah. And so about 8 years ago, we were on a trip to Nicaragua and we found a house there in a Pacific beach town in northern Nicaragua, and it had a big front porch. And so at this time, we didn't have any stores. We just had food trucks, and the food trucks were running from beginning of April, middle of April to middle of October. And so we were taking the whole winter off. And I said, well, why don't we just build a gelato shop on the front porch of this house, and we'll buy this house, and this is where we'll come during the winter. And that's what we did, and that was my first store.
You are kidding me.
So in the winter, I still go to Nicaragua.
But you still do gelato.
Well, so
do people come buy it from you, or is it just like your thing?
It's a very much tourist based.
Gotcha.
And so the tourism sector in Nicaragua has struggled just a little bit, COVID,
Sure.
and, the same way a lot of us have struggled through COVID, and they haven't quite rebounded yet. Okay. So we're going again this winter. I don't know that we will open the shop. We'll see. We may.
You can
we
just
may
feel
not.
it out.
Yeah.
But it'll be there if you want to.
But that's what led to the shops here in the United States because... it was difficult, and my Spanish wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was.
Oh, no.
It's difficult enough to open a business, but when you're trying to open one in a foreign country in Spanish, it was quite difficult. But we made it happen somehow and did well with it. So when we came back after that winter, we thought, well, we'll do it here.
That's fantastic.
And off we went. So I'm an accidental gelato maker.
All
the way around.
In 2 different countries.
Yeah.
Like, you're a multinational gelato maker.
I know. Isn't that something? Yeah.
Beth, this is such a fun story.
Well, I told you it gets a little crazy.
It
but
does.
Yeah. So that's how it happened,
That's so neat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing that with me. And so now, you guys, if you want to try some awesome Spotz Gelato, you better do it between, what dates is it?
Well, so we'll close at the end of October.
Okay.
And then we reopen right around St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
mid-March to the end of October.
Okay. So do you open with like green gelato?
Sometimes, yeah. If we're open by
What
St.
flavor
Patrick's
would that
Day.
be?
Well, a lot of times we do something with like Irish cream,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that
That doesn't make it
we
mess
like our
up.
Irish whiskey. We like our
It
bourbon.
doesn't mess up your cream ratio.
Well, no. It is tricky. We make a lot of flavors with bourbon, and it's very difficult to make a good frozen dessert product out of alcohol.
Because it doesn't freeze.
And it turns to sugar.
True. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult, but we have lots of great bourbon flavors all year round.
I think I had the old fashioned when I was there. That was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
I think it would have been really good, like a float.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So people can catch us on our website at SpottzGelato.com and also on our social media pages. And that way they can check out the dates when we're reopening for the season and when we're closing for the season.
And it's
our
Spotz
locations.
with a Z?
With a Z.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, now you know. Spotz Gelato is where it's at in lots of different places. And if you loved this story, stay tuned and subscribe to the Lou Review podcast for the next one. And I'll see you in the next episode.